Hey, it's your girl Concrete Jackie with a Cup of J podcast for your sip of the day. And this morning, I want to talk about the your experience of God versus just knowing God, and how I've experienced God in my life as opposed to just knowing God. Today is only Wednesday, third day of this week, and I have I have experienced some things that caused me to have a moment of despair. But I easily was able to readjust those thoughts and those feelings, knowing who I am, knowing whose I am. I had to think back on those thoughts and feelings, because sometimes your circumstances or your situation can cause you to have negative thoughts about the situation, or cause you to have negative feelings about the situation. And what happens is, if you dwell on those negative thoughts and feelings, they will begin to take you down a road of despair. They will begin to frustrate you. They will begin to cause doubt in you. And that, my friend, you would know that you are going down the wrong path, and you need to readjust those thoughts and redirect that behavior. When we wake up every morning, we choose what we're going to let affect us. We choose it, because what you cannot control is what's out of your control, but the things that you can control is up to you. You get to choose your own free will. When you get to choose the right thoughts and the right way to feel and the right way to behave, then you are going to have in your life the things that you are manifesting in your life. So if you're going through things, you have to keep your mind on the right things, because when your mind is not aligned with your feelings, your heart, you malfunction. And what does malfunctioning mean? Malfunctioning means that you believe the doubtful thoughts, you believe the fearful thoughts, you start to believe that your circumstance will overtake you. And guess what? It will, because you choose what the outcome is going to be for you. You may not can't choose the circumstance that you're in. You may not can't choose the situation that you're in, but you can choose how you're going to experience it. And when I say experiencing God and knowing God, I'm also talking about you have been through some things and overcome them. So you have experienced overcoming, as far as just knowing that you can overcome it. You know that you can overcome it because you've experienced overcoming some things. If you have not experienced overcoming some things, then you don't know that you can overcome it. When our problems come, when our issues come, they come to make us strong. They don't come to make us weak. But you choose how you're going to overcome that issue. Because here's the thing, if you don't choose the to experience something in a healthy, wise, knowledgeable way, by collecting everything that all the knowledge about the situation, trying to figure out how to find a solution to the situation, instead of just dwelling on the situation or pondering on the situation, because pondering and dwelling don't give you a solution. They can't occupy the mind at the same time. When people say, I'm going to pray about this situation, pray about it and leave it there. Allow God to guide you to the solution. But when you say you're going to pray about it and then your thoughts are filled with fear, your thoughts are filled with distrust and you don't even trust yourself to leave it to God, then that's a problem. So when you are experiencing God versus knowing God, there's a difference in the way you move. Because for people that just know God, they experience, their experience is different when you have experienced God. See, when you have experienced God, that shows that you have knowledge and therefore wisdom of how God works for you in your life when you have experienced him. But when you just know him because you know the word of God, and you know, and you go to the church and you know what the pastor says about God, but you have never had God, you have never experienced God working for you in situations in your life, it's hard for someone to tell you to trust what God is telling you because you've never heard from God. You've never talked and got your prayers answered and had a conversation and know that it is God that you are listening to. A lot of people in this world has not experienced what it means to actually know, experience who God is in their life. I've experienced God, and knowing God versus experience God, nobody could take the experience away from you. They probably could challenge your knowledge of God, but they can't challenge your experience of God. That's a difference. And if you've never experienced God working in your life, then somebody can easily come snatch away the knowledge that you have of God. They can easily manipulate you into not believing in God because you have not had your own experience with God. Having your own experience with God means that you've heard, you know the voice, you know how he speaks to you. And God speaks to people differently. How God speaks to me may not be how he speaks to you, but that doesn't mean that my experience is more than your experience. It just means you experienced him differently than I did. That's why our lives are, we have totally different lives. So how you experience God in your life is going to be totally different from how I experience him in mine. I'm attuned. I know when he's speaking to me because I have had some experiences in my life where he spoke to me and saved my life. Because sometimes in traffic, I'm horrible. Okay, I'm a bad. I'm not a road rager, but I like to get where I'm going, and I hate people getting in front of me and doing little crazy things. And I've had experience where God actually shouted at me because I was getting ready to get into it with a trucker, and God yelled at me to keep going, and I knew it was God. And I even experienced looking around to see who just shouted at me, and it's almost like he said, okay, keep going. He said it again, and I kept going because guess what? I was obedient. I was being obedient that day because I don't know what would have happened had I not kept going. Because see, just because you think you are tough and can beat everybody, there's always somebody worse. There's always somebody badder. There's also always somebody crazier and angrier. So I would say you need to be in tune to know when you are experiencing God, and you need to have that time to yourself, reading his word, listening, praying, and really, really understanding who God is in your life for yourself. Not understanding who God is through somebody else's words. Understanding who God is because you have a relationship with God. And what do you do when you're in a relationship? You want to talk to the person every day. You want to tell the person about your day. You want to get the person's acknowledgement and even validation from them. And when you are by yourself and you are in conversation with yourself, you are in conversation with God. He's listening. But he can't listen to you if you never talk to him. So when people say, do you have a prayer life? I'm going to say, do you have a relationship with God where you are putting him or choosing to acknowledge him in what you do in your life on a daily basis? I don't do it all the time, but I do it most of the time. And so when I say experiencing God and knowing God are two different things, that's what I mean by that. Now, this message is just to come and let you know that no matter what you're going through with any situation, you can get through it. Just don't stay in it. Don't dwell on it. Don't let the negative thoughts bombard you. Don't let thoughts of fear or thoughts of this is going to take me down cause you to be in despair and mess up the present moment in your life. Pray about the situation. Really leave it in God's hand. Ask for God's help and guidance. You can't do it by yourself. Like, I'm an ordinary chick, but with God, I'm an extraordinary chick. Okay? That's how I feel about myself. That's how I believe in my abilities, because I allow God to guide me. So I know that I don't have the issue of dwelling on my situation or staying in it. I know that this too shall pass, and it will, because I choose to believe that. One thing about me that I have discovered, I am a resilient chick. Okay? I have a resilient mindset. My mind is focused on getting through the problem, going on the other side where there's the solution. So that's what I want to tell you today. Get on the other side of your problem. Don't stay in that situation dwelling on it. Your thoughts are filled by it. Get on the other side. Go all the way through it and get to the other side. Let God experience God in your life. Don't just know him. So build that relationship with him. Have a good morning.